The World Liberty Financial Platform has a built-in kill switch. Essentially, it's a button that allows the platform operator to freeze the assets of any WLFI user without a court order or consent. In crypto, this is usually called a scam, but we're not talking about ordinary crypto, but the Trump family's project. On April 12, 2026, this feature was first used against Tron founder Justin Sun, one of the largest early investors in WLFI. Sun filed a lawsuit, but this is just the first scandal involving Trump's crypto empire. In this video, we'll look at how the US president's family profits from crypto and uses it to solve political issues. In 2024 and 2025, one of Donald Trump's key points was opposing CBDCs. Central bank digital currency, in his words, means total state control over citizens' money, the ability to cut you off for the wrong views, instantly seize funds, or block payments. I made a separate video on this topic, you can check it out. In this matter, the US president went beyond words. An executive order banning federal CBDCs was signed in the first weeks of his second term. But what do we see in the WLFI code? The platform has a built-in mechanism to freeze user assets without their consent. That is the exact same function that Trump publicly opposes. The only difference is who's pulling the strings. With a CBDC, the government or central bank can cut a user off from their money. But with WLFI, the kill switch is in the hands of a private company. For the user, there's zero difference. Their money can still be frozen. But blocking Justin Sun's coins is just the beginning of the story of manipulation. 4 days after Sun's lawsuit went public, Trump held a private dinner for WLFI holders at Mar-a-Lago. And this is no longer a story about infrastructure control, but about selling direct access to the president. On April 25, 2026, Trump held an event at Mar-a-Lago that you could only attend if you bought a certain amount of the TRUMP meme coin. Well, about 21,000 tokens, which was around $70,000 at the time. And they held it from March 12 to April 10, 2026. The 29 largest holders received invitations to a VIP dinner, personal time with the president, and a photo op. Trump's opponents called this event selling access to the president, and actually the US Constitution directly prohibits such things. But that's only the first layer. Besides the chance to chat with the president, these ticket sales to a private club support the token's market cap. According to Washington Post estimates, the Trump family earned over $300,000 on the Trump meme coin by May 2025. Meanwhile, the price of the Trump token by the time of the Mar-a-Lago meeting had dropped by more than 96% from its peak. A perfect money-making scheme in action. With one hand, we sell Trump to maintain market cap for the public and as a ticket to a private club for large holders. And with the other, we crash the value and earn as a market maker. I actually described this scheme in detail in a video about how market makers deceive traders. Be sure to watch it, but Trump's crypto business also uses more elegant ways to maintain the value and liquidity of its products. A new scheme surfaced just 4 days after the dinner at Mar-a-Lago. On April 9, 2026, World Liberty Financial performed an operation that the Gizmodo portal called an FTX-style move. Here's how it went. WLFI sent 5 billion of its own tokens to the Dolomite DeFi platform as collateral. Against this collateral, the company took out a $75 million loan in stablecoins. 40 million of that went to Coinbase Prime, an institutional service of the Coinbase exchange for large operations, through which it's convenient to convert to fiat or redirect to third-party deals. Now for a couple of important details. Detail 1. The co-founder of Dolomite is an official advisor to World Liberty Financial, meaning the loan wasn't issued by a neutral platform, but by a site affiliated with the borrower themselves. It's a classic insider loan. The company creates a loan for itself from a friendly entity. Detail 2. The borrower's own token was left as collateral. This means that if the WLFI price crashes, Dolomite will be left with a worthless token on its balance sheet, while 40 million in stablecoins have already been withdrawn to Coinbase Prime. Formally, the deal is safe, there's collateral, but economically, it all looks very questionable. The project mints a token, assigns it a value, uses it as collateral, but takes real money. FTX did exactly the same thing in 2022. The exchange's parent company, Alameda Research, took out loans using its own FTT token as collateral, which it also controlled. When the value of FTT dropped, the entire scheme collapsed. After a publication about these shady dealings, the price of the WLFI token plummeted 12% to an all-time low. The WLFI team issued a defensive statement and returned 22 million. But that money turned out to be tainted. CoinDesk tracked the transactions. The refund was made in freshly minted USD1, WLFI's own stablecoins. It looks incredible, issuing 22 million of our own stablecoins to pay back our own debt using our own tokens as collateral. Let me put that in plain English. The issuer creates $22 million out of thin air to pay off a loan they gave to themselves. It's worth noting that formally, USD1 is backed by US treasuries and cash, but a sufficiently deep audit hasn't been done. There's a chance that the only backing for USD1 is its own capitalization. But that's just the beginning. Now let's take it to a higher level. That same USD1 isn't just used within the US, it also lets Trump handle much more global affairs. In January 2026, Pakistan signed a Memorandum of Understanding with CZ Financial Technologies, a company affiliated with World Liberty Financial. The subject of the agreement is the use of USD1, the WLFI stablecoin, for Pakistan's cross-border payments. The deal seems routine. A country chooses a technology and documents are signed at the level of the central bank and the Ministry of Finance. However, in Pakistan's case, there was a catch. The documents weren't signed by financial officials, but by the Prime Minister and the Army Commander. This is a completely atypical agreement. In other words, Pakistan agreed to use USD1 not as a technical solution, but as a state gesture. The publication Modern Diplomacy explicitly called this crypto diplomacy. The country gains Washington's favor through cooperation with the president's family business. And now, the context that makes the picture more complete. Pakistan is acting as a mediator between the US and Iran in talks on Middle East de-escalation. So, the country gets diplomatic bonuses from Washington for cooperating with WLFI while simultaneously becoming a necessary mediator in the Middle East. In this case, the USD1 stablecoin is no longer just a financial product, but a currency of diplomacy. How did this happen? To do that, we have to go back to the beginning of the story and figure out what Binance, Changpeng Zhao, and a couple of UA funds have to do with it. The entire crypto business of the US president and his associates is built around USD1. A logical question arises: how did an unknown stablecoin, USD1, issued by an obscure company in 2024, suddenly become so special that entire countries accept it as a settlement tool? Let's find out. In May 2025, the Emirati fund MGX, which by the way is linked to the investment company of the current sheikh's brother, used the USD1 stablecoin to buy a stake in Binance worth about $2 billion. The purchase was made specifically in USD1. The stablecoin had existed for about 6 months at that point. But more importantly, USD1 immediately turned from just another peripheral stablecoin into a tool with a $2 billion capitalization. This event triggered a series of events that we talked about earlier. I think you've already traced the connection to Binance founder Changpeng Zhao. In October 2025, Trump pardoned him. At that point, CZ had served 4 months for violating the Bank Secrecy Act. The pardon was signed 5 months after the Binance stake was sold for $2 billion in USD1 stablecoins. After CZ's release, A funny moment occurred on the American TV program 60 Minutes. A journalist asked Trump about Changpeng, and he replied, "I don't know him." Whether Trump knows CZ or not isn't that important. What matters is that the purchase of the Binance stake for USD1 made the stablecoin legitimate. Now let's put the whole picture together. We have the Trump meme coin, the WLFI token, and the USD1 stablecoin. These are different products with different legal owners, but they all belong to the Trump family in various shares. On his meme coin, Trump had already earned $320 million by May 2025. Meanwhile, by April 2026, the token's price had dropped by more than 96% from its peak. Retail buyers are in the red with the WLFI token and the stablecoin. USD1, it's more complicated. Trump and his family have a company called DT Marks DeFi. It owns 38% of WLF Holdco directly and another 22% through other structures linked to Trump. Of the remaining shares, about half are held by Emirati funds. The sons of Trump's special envoy are also listed as minority shareholders to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. Quite a coincidence, isn't it? Pakistan and the UAE have nothing to do with this, of course. Within the WLF Holdco structure is World Liberty Financial, which issues the WLFI token. The Trump family receives up to 75% of the sales. And the USD1 stablecoin, Trump's stake in it is unknown. Its founders are those same sons of Steve Witkoff. Emirati money plays a key role in the birth of the Trump empire, and it came in two stages. First, before Trump's inauguration, part of the future empire was sold to the Emirati royal family for $500 million. That's a stake in WLF Holdco. $180 million of that went to Trump's entities and $301 million to Witkoff's. In February 2026, Congress opened an investigation into the matter. The second tranche occurred during the second presidency, in May 2025. The MGX fund, whose money is somehow linked to the royal family of the UAE, bought a $2 billion stake in Binance in USD1. It was this deal that helped USD1 become the fifth largest stablecoin by market cap as of May 2026. Add to that the pardoned CZ, whose structure was used to move the money, and voila, the empire's foundation is set. The team is assembled and the strategic directions are defined. By the way, in January 2026, a WLF subsidiary applied for a banking license for USD1 operations. So it seems this is only the beginning. Interesting. Well, then give me a like and subscribe. In the last video, we saw that the most disciplined model, not the smartest, wins in the market. The Trump family has no problem with discipline. Kill switch, insider loans, Emirati money. No unnecessary talk, just business. Now the whole scheme is laid out before us. Curtain, epilogue, and the moral of the story. In his second run, Trump campaigned largely as a crypto defender, but as a businessman, he couldn't resist profiting from it. Selling access through Trump, odd moves with the WLFI token, launching USD1, and using it as a political tool. The current US president's plans are certainly far-reaching. The main question is, what will happen to the empire when Trump is no longer the president? Perhaps the crown is being prepared for the next generation of the family. We'll discuss this in a new video. But for now, let us know in the comments if you bought Trump or WLF during the hype.